because they've always had financial wherewithal from years past before NIL, before, as Barry Switzer says, now it's legal.
Yeah.
When it was illegal. Okay. So anyway,
Yeah.
Rhett Lashley wants the Auburn job. This weekend, a report came out that SMU was finalizing a contract extension for Rhett Lashley. SMU has one of the best collectives in college football, in college sports. They're in the top 3. Okay.
Yeah.
I don't think Rhett, from my understanding and talking to a couple people yesterday, I don't think Rhett has signed the contract extension at SMU. I believe somebody needs to talk to Rhett Lashley to gauge his interest, because when you can get a guy that's been at Auburn, understand how the system works in the building and outside the building, that's a great advantage.
Yeah. All right, let me bring in Sergeant Schultz. I know nothing. Dave Bartoo from the Wilderness. And Dave told me before the show, you know his position. I know nothing. Clink. Guys, go ahead, Dave. How are you? Good morning. Welcome.
I'm doing good, boss. I'm doing good, man.
His position's in the moose stand. What the hell are you talking about?
Elk hunting, man.
Elk stand.
Yeah. I love this time of year, but it's here a little earlier than I think we all expected. But you know something? I mean, sports is the ultimate copycat. You know, one domino falls and everybody freaks out, and everybody's talking about who's going where, and I'm like, it's November 1st, you idiots. Nobody's leaving. You know, and but there's a lot going on. I mean, you probably have, what are we looking at by January 6th? Maybe 7. I said probably maybe 7 different head coaches in the SEC. So I mean, there's a lot going on, way outside what people really look at, and so it's going to be an interesting ride as these ADs start putting their dominoes behind all these other dominoes that are stacking in front of them. There's not enough good coaches out there to replace. I mean, what are we at now? 12 FBS fired head coaches. So now we're talking. So those 12 plus the other 8 to 12, they're going to steal from somebody else. So we got 20 to 24 head coaches minimum at November 1st already gone, and all their staffs. Right. So you're talking about 230 to 240 guys all on the move at once. God, it's going to be a glorious shit show.
Dave, other than that, it's just, you know, there's no pressure in the SEC to win. I mean, it's laid back. Then you got the Big Ten, as Ellis pointed out, for the 3rd week in a row coming up. You're going to have no ranked versus ranked matchups in the Big Ten. The ACC, you know, you saw Miami at SMU. That was the first time I was in college when that happened. SMU got a win over a top 10 team. They're going nuts out there. You know, Dave, and we'll bounce it back around, but a lot of us didn't get to see college football over the weekend because we stream with YouTube. Ellis was watching through the neighbors, had the blinds pulled up. Pete went down to the VFW Lodge and watched football. I mean, it was crazy, but you're a numbers guy. You see things that other people don't. What'd you see over the weekend that made you feel, hey, this is great or this is crazy?
Well, I'm not going to talk about how much football I watched this weekend because people will stop believing what I do. There was what I'm looking for right now is in terms of like a playoff run, because you know what I really focus on is because Sunday morning is one of the busiest mornings of my week right now. Because I got to get up. I got to get up at 3, and I got to get all my spreadsheets done and up to date. I got to get all the modeling for strength of schedule, all the modeling for strength of record, all the opponent adjusted stuff, and I got to get it to all the playoff committee people that I work with. And so I got to get that to them first thing Sunday morning. So, you know, that's when I'm kind of looking at what teams go up and down. You know, I watch on Saturday just for entertainment. That's it. I saw Miami snug. I turned the game on in the last 3 minutes. I wanted to watch that. So I watched the scoreboard all Saturday, but I don't watch it with the eye of an X's and O's guys, which I'm not. That's why you got Pete here, right? And all you guys. It's trying to see did anybody progress? Did anybody take a step back or a step forward that was maybe a little bit unexpected? I think it was pretty status quo. The one thing I would point out in the numbers, okay, this is the one, because elite performance wins national titles. Okay, you have to be elite at something. My favorite trend inside the numbers is offensive and defensive scoring efficiency in the regular season. Okay, and remember, folks, it's a scoreboard up there. It's not a yards board. Okay. Anybody who starts quoting yards per game doesn't know what they're talking about, because it's not a yards board. Okay.
Yeah.
So scoring is the most important thing. How efficiently you put points on the board and how efficiently you don't allow points on the board is a national championship team. At the end of the regular season, the national champion has come from the top 3, not top 5, not top 10, not top 20, top 3 in offensive or defensive scoring efficiency every year this century. Every single one. So I am looking for the teams that are at that top level. Okay. Right now you got Ohio State number 1 in defense. Number 2 is Indiana. Number 3 is Texas. Okay. If the season ended today, those are my top 3 teams I'm taking on defense. On offense, you got Vanderbilt, USC, and Indiana. That's it. To me, right now, today, that's your national championship pool. Pete, go for it. Knock it out, Pete. Go, go, go.
The number 2 scoring offense is at North Texas. They're averaging 44.5 points a game. Eric Morris. You're leaving the mean green out.
Two things.
No. I'm messing with you.
No. We're going to make 2 things really clear here, boss. 2 things really clear. Number 1, points per game does not mean it's a good offense. Okay. Larry Fedora put up a lot of points per game because he ran the ball 110 times a game, but he was so inefficient. Okay. And I'm not saying North Texas isn't a good offense or inefficient, but I'm also talking about teams that can win it all with the talent. North Texas is not one of those teams.
Power 4. I understand.
Yeah. Power 4. And let's be realistic. We've only had 2 teams that over the previous 4 years recruit outside the top 10 win a national title. And both of them had first round NFL quarterbacks drafted. Okay. Yeah. Deshaun Watson, JJ McCarthy. That's it. So really when it comes right down to it, if you're looking historically, the only 2 teams that are in the running right now are Texas and Ohio State. That's it. Yeah. What Kurt Cignetti is trying to do is extend the greatest 3.5 years of head coaching I've seen this century. That's what he's trying to do. If Kurt does anything ever with Indiana, hell, just getting them to a national title game is unreal. But winning the whole thing would be super surreal. But that's what I'm looking at. I'm looking at where are those top teams. But the one thing that really stood out to me was that the SEC does not have a single team, not one. Okay, this is where Georgia and Alabama used to live. They were top 5 in both for a decade. They don't have a single team in the top 20 of offense and defense. Not one. They have no balance whatsoever. You're either really good on defense, Texas, Oklahoma, and poor on offense, or really good on offense, Ole Miss, Texas A&M, and not so great on defense. It is super imbalanced, and I see all these people comparing the SEC teams now to the SEC teams before. Dude, Kirby Smart's national championship teams, Ed Orgeron, Nick Saban would kick the hell out of this latest version of the SEC, unequivocally, in my opinion. I think that's the biggest takeaway that I'm seeing so far after 10 weeks of college football.
Ellis?
Yeah, I think that's a great point. Well, one reason they do have some deficiencies is who they have to play every week. But the depth The NIL, the portal has taken away the depth that the SEC used to bank, and they just don't have it now. And I think the area in which that hurts them the most are the defensive fronts. So they can't go in and just smother people and bully people like they used to. They have to play with them for 4 quarters. And there's some vulnerabilities out there in the perimeter because the front can't hide it. But I still think it's the hardest conference down through the bottom. And I wasn't trying to say they have the best teams in America. I'm saying they have the hardest track to play. I mean, you look at Ohio State's schedule, it's pitiful. They have 2 decent wins this year. But you're going to tell me they're not a good football team because they don't play a good schedule? You need your head examined.
Yeah.
There's no question about that.
Yeah, they're really good. And I was watching something on Big Ten, Big Noon Saturday. They showed the ushers at the Ohio State games. Man, they had those red sweat. They look like Walmart greeters, man. I mean, it's back in the 40s for the fashions up there. But they got a hell of a football team. For all of y'all, let me say something. But Dave just said the efficiency, the dominance. We're not seeing that. And shut down defenses. This has been going on a while, but Ellis just hit it. It's just now really hit the SEC. Instead of smothering the people on the line of scrimmage, you got to play with them a full 60. And that's why I picked Georgia to play Bama for the SEC championship and Georgia to win it. And that was my pick. Now, I mean, that doesn't mean I'm right, but Dave attacked me on that one. But they play a full 60 at Georgia, and Gunnar Stockton is as a quarterback. He owns that locker room, but there's something about him. He's like Ty Simpson. They've waited their time, and they're both really good.
Yeah, but again, it goes back to what I see as a weakness is I agree with you, Alice. Top to bottom, it still is the toughest conference. I mean, it's got more NFL draft picks than anybody. The injury rate per snap is still the highest in the country, even without that 9th game. So the physicality index is still through the roof, but the quality of football is just not there. And I think that's an advantage to the Oregons and the Ohio States, possibly in the future, the Michigans, the Penn States, the USCs, in that, and even Indiana, in that they're without that physicality and without the depth. I think teams can stay healthier and be more prepared come the playoff time. And the SEC voted to hurt themselves even more with 9 conference games instead of going with 8 and just playing more Power 4 teams. I mean, I wish everybody just gone 8 and required 2 Power 4 teams. Then we'd really see who's good. And then we'd balance it out a little bit more. But I mean, I get wanting to take Georgia, Alabama, the 2 best recruiters in the conference. But right now, Georgia doesn't have a top 25 defense. They don't have a top 25 offense. Ole Miss does. Texas does. Oklahoma does. Alabama does. A&M does. Man, if Georgia gets there, all kudos to him and the referee crews that helped it. But it's a long ways to go.
Here, the 4 teams at the top right now, and Texas is not one of them. They may be right in the middle of it. But all right, Texas A&M has to go to Missouri. They play South Carolina, Samford, and have to go to Texas. I don't know. I don't know if they can make that without another loss. Alabama has LSU, Oklahoma, Eastern Illinois, but then they got to go to Auburn. Always a toss-up. Georgia has at Mississippi State. They've got to play Texas, Charlotte, and then they've got to go to Georgia Tech. Ole Miss has Citadel, Florida, who has had to fire a coach, an open date, and at Mississippi State. They've got the easiest track. Now, if I was still playing at the Citadel, they'd probably be the underdogs this week. But
right.
They've got the Citadel, Florida, open date, Mississippi State. I think they get in the playoff at the SEC playoff game. I don't think they win it, but I think they get in it.
Wow. I mean, these schedules, looking at them, look at Missouri. You see Missouri's got to play Texas A&M Saturday. That's in Columbia. You just mentioned that one. What do y'all think happens there? That Eli, and a lot of people are, he's probably getting a lot of people trying to get him to be their coach, but Dave, you want to take a stab at that one? I mean, A&M.
Well, Missouri's quarterback, their starting quarterback done, isn't he?
Yeah.
Tribula, yeah, he got hurt. He
Yeah.
was in a boot. Yeah.
Yeah. So why are we even having this discussion?
Yeah. That's a good
I mean, no, seriously. I mean, we know. I mean,
That's right.
so much goes to the quarterback. I mean, if any team loses their quarterback, we're all a bit down for Nebraska, right?
Yeah.
They're pretty much toast. Missouri, they lost their quarterback. They're toast. If Ty Simpson goes down, it's over. Stockton, it's over, right? I mean, or Arch Manning goes down, it's over. Mateer, it's over. So I think from that standpoint, Missouri's just going to struggle, and quite frankly, I mean, Missouri's a bottom half talented team in the SEC. Eli does a really good job both sides of the football as an offensive coordinator and staffing the defense. It's just a solid football team, and I agree that Eli's agent is taking a phone call from everybody. That's why when I say there's going to be 7 job openings in the SEC, Missouri's going to be one of them. Okay, somebody's backing the truck up to Eli to get that guy. There's just too many openings, in my opinion, for that not to happen. So Missouri, who's your next guy up, is really the more of the question in Columbia. But no, I think Missouri's going to struggle to win football games down the stretch here. And if the head coach is that distracted, we saw a lot of distracted head coaches this weekend. Did you notice that? I mean, Summerall at Tulane did not win, did not cover. There's a lot of teams that struggled to win and cover whose coaches getting the phone calls. The one guy who kept his head on a swivel, this was probably one of the most impressive things, getting away from your question. How about Rhett Lashley keeping his team focused to get that win in overtime at home? Yeah. That was probably the most impressive coaching I saw this weekend, because I don't think people understand how hard it is to mentally focus when all these jobs are open and your name is being out on social media every single second of the day.
Yeah. And look, you're right about Missouri. Look at Missouri's schedule was definitely back end loaded. I mean, they've got A&M, Mississippi State, at Oklahoma, and at Arkansas. The team Mississippi State, if they had some more defensive talent, the job that Jeff Lebby does there is really impressive. And I want to ask you about Florida, guys. They played again. That roster, that looked more like Florida. They looked like they were having some fun out there, but we don't know who their coach is. I mean, everything now, it's like this season's already over. Looking ahead. I mean, it's that, but you think the SEC, anybody want to take a guess, gets 5 or 6 teams in the playoff? Is that possible?
No.
Okay.
Probably not numerically, and hell, politically, they might not get 3.
Yeah. Because there's a lot of people are projecting 6, but they're not looking at that schedule. It's a sausage grinder here at the end.
Yeah, it is, and something. It's good rule of thumb, and maybe this changes, but once you get that 3rd loss, you're out. I don't believe in the political motivation of conference versus conference. I don't believe in the brands that matter. We've been modeling playoff committee behavior for 11 years. They use the same model. They're in there for one day. They're told what to do. They're told what rules to follow. It's really easy to project this stuff when you don't listen to the narrative constantly being changed by the media. So, when it comes down to the SEC, just if you don't have 3 losses, you're probably going to be in this year almost for sure. So I think of all those teams you just rattled off there, Rob, I think the one that is most interesting in terms of trying to control its destiny is Texas, starting the season with a loss, and they went out and they're in and they'll be a top seed. So that's the one I'm most curious about out of the SEC.
And they're going to knock a couple of others out of these next 4 games. I think they play 2 others that have a shot at it. And if they beat them, that's going to put their death nail in.
Yep.
Yeah,
they could come down to Texas and A&M, in Austin, their last game.
Oh God, wouldn't that be delicious? Oh my God! I mean, seriously, it's like playoff games, right? I mean, Georgia, Texas. Does Georgia still have to play Texas?
Yeah, November 15th in Athens.
Well,
Right.
just think of this. Say they do, it does come down to that game. Whoever wins it got to turn around and play the SEC championship game. Then they got to turn around and go into the playoffs. They're going to have to win six games in a row against really good football teams. If they can do it, I'll be surprised. I just think it's too much from the college level. Texas
is already in the playoffs. They're in the regular season playoffs. They have to win out to make it.
Yeah.
So they got to take on a playoff mentality when they go to Athens. And so every game is a playoff predictor for them. Dave, I got to ask you.
Yes, sir.
If I talk to Richard Clark, can I ask him if he has you on speed dial for tomorrow night's first meeting? Because it sounds like all the stuff you're putting out there for the selection committee. Why don't they ever invite you down to Texas for their meetings?
I second that, Dave.
Dude, I'm just a nobody. I'm the flea on the dog's back, man.
Dude, hey, they're paying those folks something, and they're not giving you a dime. What? I don't understand that.
Oh no. My work is just there. There are certain people in the playoff. See what's given to the playoff committee is all are models that are typically made by ESPN and the data provider. Okay.
Gotcha. Yeah.
And so I'd say one of my jobs, I work for ADs all over the country, and one of my jobs actually is, and it's one of my favorite ones, is I get to be a devil's advocate, right? I get to tear people's opinions apart from a data standpoint. When ESPN says ABC, I'll have ADs go, is this right? Because there's been times where they get something like an ESPN FPI, and ESPN FPI says this is the equation. It doesn't add up to what they're being told. The data does the answer, right? The formula doesn't equal the answer. So it's trying to get these guys to just be a little bit more informed. The one thing, if anybody gets to talk to Mr. Clark, okay, the very first day when Hancock announced the playoff as the chair and said full transparency, we do not have full transparency on strength of record and strength of schedule. They said they changed it, and they didn't say how. They said they were going to apply it differently. We have no idea how. Ellis just said a few minutes ago, it doesn't matter who you play. That doesn't define the quality of your team. You're absolutely right. Strength of schedule has no correlation to the quality of the team. Zero. That means if you're using strength of schedule heavily, it's just a subjective beauty contest, which I think is a bunch of bullcrap. So, Mr. Clark, if you're listening, give us the formula and how you're applying it, and give us the transparency y'all promised us, and not hide behind that curtain.
So what you're saying is human nature will rely on points scored and points given up.
Yeah, exactly. Some guy will be going North Texas needs to be in the playoffs because they're averaging 41-3 a game.
Yeah,
44.4, but that's all right. Eric Morris is a good friend.
But the problem is you're giving up 44.4.
No. But now let's go back to Georgia.
Yeah.
2 years ago with Bowers and McConkey, all right, they were tearing people up.
Yeah.
Yep.
Last year they led the country in drops. That receiving corps led the country in drops. And Carson Beck, his little ass is down in Miami, and he can't get it done down there. So Gunnar Stockton beats him out, and the receivers are getting a little better. But remember this name, Jared Curtis, Nashville Christian. He is a Sunday player playing in high school. The Explosives will be back in Athens next year at quarterback with Jared Curtis, 6'5", 220, about 5% body fat, and tearing it up. And Kirby, I know Vanderbilt is making a push for him, but I'm telling you, when Jared Curtis gets to Athens, the Explosives are back on the table for the Bulldogs. This year, they're winning ugly.
Yeah.
They're winning ugly.
Well,
it had to come from behind 4 times.
Does that kid play defense?
Yeah.
Okay.
I hope YouTube and Disney straighten things out before next year so I can see the kid play.
I do too. And I got to say, man, hey, Disney is trying to force everybody, I think, to subscribe to their deal. But a lot of people are going to figure out a way to do it. I mean, we're streaming live on Twitter, Facebook, and YouTube. Okay. People can watch us. Hello. Thank you for watching, everybody. But this is crazy what is happening. But Dave and Ellis and Pete, everybody watching, I'll go back and watch this show and I take notes. Strength of schedule. It's so preseason, the top 20 strength of schedules, 15 of the top 16 in America were SEC teams. And Missouri came in at number 20. And now you want to look at Missouri's schedule, the last 4 games they've got, Texas A&M, Mississippi State, at Oklahoma, and at Arkansas. That ain't easy. As Chuck Oliver says, that's not nothing, Dave. You know, that's tough.
Both quarterbacks are out. The second-team quarterback got hurt in the first game of the year against UCA, Sam Horn. And Prabula's out. They're going with a freshman at quarterback for that 4-game stretch.
They've had 2 quarterbacks go out for the year, Dave. That's holy cow. That's crazy.
That's football. That's football. Oh my God. Yeah. What did guys not get hurt when Ellis was at the Citadel? I mean, come on. What's up?
Ellis is changing his name to Tom Cruise and going back for 1 year of eligibility at the Citadel. Watch for him on Saturday.
One more year. Platoon leader Johnson.
1 more year.
1 more year.
They wouldn't let me back in there if I could run a 4.240. They said not again. Not again.
You're going back. Enough. You're going back to the Charleston. Guys, looking at the big picture college football, the TV numbers, the interest, it's there. I mean, people are watching. Now, Dave, I like this. Georgia doesn't have top 25 offense or top 25 defense. You know, they won the SEC last year. Here's one of the great anomalies with the number 15 out of 16 rushing attack in the conference. So they're winning. Let's just say Georgia's winning weird. Kind of like Austin, Texas. Keep Austin weird.
Yeah, well, but you got to run the ball.
Yeah.
Okay. Even if you're not doing it effectively, let me give you a number in the Power 4, Power 5 for the last 5 years. Drives in the Power 4, Power 5. Drives that have more runs than passes. So 6 runs, 5 passes. 7 runs, 5 passes. You know, drives that have more runs than passes score at a rate of 17.2% higher than drives that have more passes than runs.
Wow.
Think about that, right? You know, your dad, your grandpa always said you got to have a run game. You got to have a run game, even if it's not a good one. Got to have a run game.
Have you been talking to Lou Holtz? That was no, really. That was his number one deal. If we have to throw the football more than we run it, we're going to get our ass beat. I'm going back to 1972.
Right.
I'm going back to 19.
He was right.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And so
it is. And the other one, people love to talk about defense wins championships.
Yeah.
You guys want a number on that one?
Yes.
This will blow your mind. Okay. In the NFL in the last 26 years, how many number 1 scoring efficiency offenses won the Super Bowl? 26 years.
24.
One number 1 offense in the NFL won 1 Super Bowl in 26 years. Do you know how many number 1 defenses won the Super Bowl? 7. Do you know how many Super Bowls Tom Brady won without a top 6 defense?
Probably none. Yeah.
0. Yeah. Build a defense, run the damn football, be efficient. Those are your 3 big keys in football anywhere at the highest level, in my opinion.
Along with that, now, when you have drives and you have more runs than passes, you likely have a lot of possession. And when you got a lot of possession, your defense is not getting scored on. They're just sitting over on the bench.
Yeah.
The other thing, I'll tell you another one. Tommy Bowden said one time, and I didn't really understand it at first. If you just take the NCAA statistics, not the things that Dave can dig into, but if you just look at all the statistics and you can only use one to predict the success of a football team, he said it's points allowed. Points allowed, scoring defense. They shouldn't call it scoring defense. Oklahoma scored a touchdown the other day, and Tennessee's defense wasn't even on the field. So it should be points allowed. Your kicking game, your offense, your defense are all a part of how many points you give up, because it's field position with the kicking game. It's, having turnovers and things where your defense didn't even give up the damn points. But if you track that one statistic of all just the NCAA statistics they keep, it correlates more with where teams end up being ranked as a football team also.
Yeah, we got about a minute and a half left, but unbelievable conversation as always. Ellis Johnson, Pete Cordelli, Dave Bartoo, College Football Matrix. Man, if you want to understand what's going on in college football, go back and watch this show and share it with all of your friends, and you'll be much smarter for it. Guys, we will do it again next Monday. Week 11 is upon us, and Halloween's behind us. So, we got new reasons. But I will say this, that defensive efficiency number that you gave an offensive, that says everything. Thank y'all so much. All right, let's say great show about Landers Ford people, Memphis, LandersFordMemphis.com. And I know, Brendan, they are open every day of the week except Sundays. The day means more than the dollar. Borrow the line from Sag's Big and Tall Shop in West Memphis, Arkansas. Opened 100 years. $500 off for SEC Sidelines audience members. Ask for Brad Bellamy, the general manager at LandersFordMemphis.com. Expeditions, Explorers, they've got everything you're looking for. All the F-150s, the trucks, service department open every day of the week. They'll pick you up, round-trip transportation. Give them a call, LandersFordMemphis.com at Poplar and Houston Levy. And Hewlett & Dunn, check out the boot of the week. J.M. Huffman, Charles Hall, the owner, and his wife, Laura, Raven, Lydia. Everybody there makes the experience incredible. Barber, Filson, Stetson, Pendleton, Schaefer, Duckheads, everything you want for the outdoor life. You've never looked better. Kids' boots, men's and women's boots, over 7,000 pairs on the historic square in Collierville, Tennessee. Easy to get to. One of the coolest stores you've ever been to in your life. HewlettandDunn.com. And Rumble Boxing Gym, Union and McLean, Midtown Memphis. How you fight is how you live. Take a picture of that QR code. Get in the best shape of your life. 45-minute sessions. The best. Again, open at 5 in the morning every day of the week. Weekends, 5:30 a.m. Hey, most often we see the face of Christ in the least among us. We're the most blessed people in the greatest country in the history of the world. For executive producer Brendan Martin, the best in the business, I'm Rob Browne. Stay tuned to this channel. See you tonight. Thanks for watching.